Hello and welcome back to the channel. And welcome back to Trappist Sunday. So this Sunday we have got the beer from the brewery Orval. Orval's Trappist beer. Now I'm really looking forward to this one. I've not had it and I've had this bottle a while because they do say, I'm going to have to do another video because they do say that if you can age Orval and test it and taste test it to a fresher one, there's supposed to be massive differences. We'll get into why that is anyway. But as I always do, got a bit of cheese there. Going to be trying it with cheese and also without the yeast and then with the yeast. So before I start, no, not before I start, I've already started. Before I get a drink, before I open it, just want a little bit of history about the brewery. So Orval, it's one brewery, one name, one beer. And they first brewed Orval back in 1932. And they installed an upgraded brew house in 2008. Orval is in the Luxembourg province, Belgium. I've got my Brew Like a Monk book, which I love, and it's got little stories about all the Trappist and Abbey brewers, and I just want to read a little bit of the background of Orval for you. Orval qualifies as the oldest monastery occupied by current Trappists and the youngest. Benedictines founded it in 1070, but abandoned it shortly thereafter, leaving Cistercians to re-establish the abbey in 1132. The first record of brewing at the monastery dates to 1628, but it seems likely monks made beer there as early as the 12th century. Sorry, this is not going quite to plan, is it? The monastery became Trappist in the 17th century, then returned to the more mainstream Cistercian order in the 18th century. Like other monasteries, the French sacked it in 1790 and it was not rebuilt until 1926. The legend has it that the princess Matilda gave Orval its name. When her wedding ring fell into a lake in the valley, she prayed for its return. At once, a trout rose to the surface with a precious ring in its mouth. Mathilda exclaimed, "Truly, this place is Val d'Or, Valley of Gold." In gratitude, she decided to establish a monastery on the site. Orval trademarked its logo showing a trout with a golden ring in 1934. So you can see on the bottle there, the trout and the ring, and it's also on the bottle cap as well. They brew Orval and they brew a Orval Petite for the monks. So that really do. The one beer, the Orval Petite, is just this diluted down apparently. The brewery, monks started brewing in order to raise money to rebuild the monastery, and for the first 20 years only lay people worked within it. The brewery was not created for giving the monks any activity. That's what was said. Today, 32 lay workers produce about 45,000 hectolitres of beer a year. The brewery operates a separate financial entity that leases the Orval name from the monastery, with their monks controlling the company. Each month, the private company pays a percentage of sales to the abbey, with 55% of that given to charity and the remainder used to maintain the monastery. That's what's in that book. I've got a little bit in my other book, so I've got the 300 and I've got the 1001 beers. Really interesting books with all this information. So page 212. What does it say there? Need my glasses on for this because the writing is minute again, which I won't use it as a headband. Okay, so one brewery, one name, one beer. I've already said that. How many brewers are content to be single-minded these days and still remain successful? Exactly. The Trappist monks at Orval in the southeastern nook of the Luxembourg province manage very well. Business is good for this magnificent abbey and its inhabitants, especially since the brew house was installed in 2008. That's the newer updated brew house. Jean-Marie Rock is the brewmaster and he is happy to serve guests a true exclusive Orval on tap. It's different from the bottle beer, of course, but still essentially the same. And there is Petite Orval, the Monk's Own table beer. Again, it's the same thing, just diluted. Some people will say that not two bottles of Orval are ever the same, perhaps because the beer travels badly. It ages, however, remarkably well, and it's hard to pick what is best. A freshly opened bottle at the brewery or a dusty one that has remained for years in the cellar. Well, we'll come on to that again in a minute in this book, because you're probably thinking, well, why does it taste better when it's aged? What's in it? What's making that difference? Hopefully I can explain a little bit about that here. And in this book, so let me get the page right, page 225. Okay, what does it say here? So the Abbey of Our Lady of Orval stands in densely wooded countryside in the Ardennes on a sharp bend in the old Roman road that runs from Trier to Germany to Reims in France, one of the important salt routes of earlier times. The Abbey and grounds are places of great beauty and serenity. It was destroyed by the French Revolution. The present complex surrounds the ruins of the former abbey. The abbey uses a symbol of a trout with a ring. We've just talked about that, about the lady. The monastery was rebuilt in the 12th century by the monks from the Champagne region. The present buildings were constructed over a long period between 1926 and 1948. Trappist monks came from as far as Brazil to answer the call to settle at Orval and help re-educate and recreate a place dedicated to prayer and charitable work in the community. The modern abbey was designed by architect Henry Vrees, a great admirer of Cistercian buildings. His impressive creation, the main buildings reflected an ornamental lake, is a stunning blend of Romanesque and Burgundian styles with some startling 1920s Art Deco. A brewery was added in 1931, hence why this was first out in 1932. The brew house is in a chapel-like room with a crucifix on the wall. The formula for the beer was devised by a German brewer named Pappenheimer, who worked to the monk's specification that includes the English method of dry hopping. That's why this is different. This is the only Trappist beer that I know that is dry hopped. I could be wrong on that, but it's the only one that I know of it is actually dry hopped. This entails adding a handful of hops to the finished beer for aroma and bitterness. The brewery is unique among the Trappist establishments in producing just one beer called simply Orval. The hops used for the copper boil are German Hallertau varieties and Styrian Goldings from Slovenia. East Kent Goldings are used for dry hopping. Now, East Kent Goldings is a English hop. The beer has 3 fermentations. Primary, with a conventional ale yeast. The beer is pumped to conditioning tanks, where 4 or 5 more yeast strains are added. And then one of these is a wild yeast, a member of the Brettanomyces family, used in making a spontaneous fermentation lambic beers in the Brussels area. The yeast signature is an aroma known as horse blanket. The yeast strain, now carefully cultured in the brewer's lab, can attack dextrins as well as maltose sugars in the wort. So that takes me all the way back to the fact that basically I call it Brett. It's Brettanomyces. God, I'm terrible today. And Brett is a wild yeast, and it was used in England many, many years ago, and it's still used, like it says in there, in some lambics and some wild mixed fermentation beers. And what Brett does, it carries on eating sugars, and in the bottle, it's conditioning, and that Brettanomyces will carry on eating them sugars. So they label it, put the glasses back on, Rob. They label it as with an ABV of 6.2%, but it could be anything above that, depending on when and how much sugar's been ate by that wild yeast as well in the bottle. So because of that as well, you could expect that bottle to be quite carbonated, but I'm really interested to know. So Orval is unique in the fact it's dry hopped. It's unique in the fact that it's using like English East Kent Golding hops as well in that dry hop, and a mix of German hops. I'm really looking forward to it. It really is. I'll read, if I can, what's on that bottle in gold writing. But just wanted to say about Orval, it's gone like all the other Trappist breweries. It's been sacked, it's been rebuilt, it's gone through a lot. This was quite young in the brewing. When you think 1932 as well, that's quite young for a Trappist beer to be brewed. So let's crack it open. Let's try it with some cheese. let's try it with the yeast. And I apologise for my terrible reading there. First of all, I had my glasses on for my book, and then I did put my glasses on, and then I couldn't say the word Brettanomyces. Don't know what's wrong with me. Okay, let's crack it open. Let's get the aroma. Let's see what it looks like, and importantly, let's get the taste. I've just used, I love that cap as well, Orval Trappist. There's the trout, there's the ring as well. Just used my fantastic Bramall Backroom Brewery bottle opener. And what this bottle opener doesn't do, it doesn't damage the bottle caps, which is superb. It's brilliant. Cheers, Jersey. Okay, I can see it now. See, it's coming up there. Let's go in a glass. I'm going to pour, say, 3/4 in. Yeah, you can see how lively it is. I'll pour it in, then I'll mix it around, get the yeast. Oh my gosh, I'm actually getting the aroma there. So you can see it's quite a lot there, because that has got some carbonation. It really has. I was expecting that, if I'm honest, with a wild yeast being in there, working its magic whilst it's just been stored in the bottle, which is superb. So it looks lovely. It's got a golden colour, quite clear, lots of carbonation. That's actually, if I just lay out stand, it's going to come over the top. It is unbelievable. Now, I don't like over-carbonated beers, but this is going to be interesting because I can imagine it being quite refreshing. 6.2%, but quite refreshing. That Brett yeast will dry it out as well because it eats a lot of the sugars, so it's not going to leave anything cloying or on the palate or any stickiness. It should have ate or pretty much all the sugars or majority of them sugars in that beer. So yeah, I don't think that head's definitely not going to die down. So I'm not going to get much of aroma as such, but let's try. I'm saying that and I am. I'm getting a little bit of like banana and toffos, banana toffos. Then you're getting like these fruits, and it's a lemon, sherbet lemon. I'd even say something peachy and a little bit, this is going to sound crazy, peach yogurt. There's definitely a sweetness about it. It smells amazing. It really does. Smells like no other Trappist beer I've had so far, put it that way. I mean, I had the English Tid Meadow, that smelled like a fantastic English old ale. Then I had the Westmalle, which was superb. It was bananas and clove, and it was just bubblegum. It was all sorts of things. This one, again, is different and quite unique. Oh, it smells really, really good. Okay, cheers. I'm going to get a taste, if I can get past that head. Well, that is definitely different. So, when I'm saying that banana, toffee banana, I'm definitely getting that in the taste. Then I'm getting, because it's got that wild fermentation, that wild yeast in there, you do start to get a bit of funk. So there's a bit of that East Kent Golding hops coming through. So there's some floral notes on the tongue, there's some citrusy notes on the tongue, and dare I say, like a apple pear note as well coming through on the flavour. It's really interesting. Then there's like this earthiness at the back, possibly coming from that East Kent Golden as well, because there's an earthiness there which is just lingering on the back. It's really complex. What I'm not getting, I'm not really getting any malt flavours. It seems to be all hop and fermentation flavours. I'm not really getting any of the, what I'd say, any malt. No. Like I say, it's that earthiness there. It is drying, really drying. Makes you want to go back for more. But it's amazingly refreshing, and it doesn't taste 6.2 at least or above. It's not got any alcohol burn. It's not got any alcohol and booziness in the flavour either. That is lovely. And I will now do a test and age one and then buy a fresh one, because that is absolutely superb beer. The fact to keep going back to it. And that carbonation, even though it looked like it's roaring, it's not roaring across the tongue. So I'm really thankful for that. So let's try it with the cheese. So we got some feta. That feta is really, really zingy. Okay, get the feta, then the beer. Okay, now I've had goat's cheese. And goat's cheese has got this farm-like quality, and what that beer has just done is just turn that feta into the taste I get from goat's cheese, which is like a farm yard quality. Now I wonder if that's the Brett in there, because even in that book and what I've learned over the years, people say horse blanket for Brett, and maybe that's what I'm tasting. Maybe that's enhancing the horse blanket taste and aroma in that beer with the cheese, which again takes it to another level of complexity, because that feta has just turned into goat's cheese, and I love goat's cheese and I do like lamb's cheese, and that has just resembled it. It's just taken on the taste and flavours of that beer, took on the cheese and blended together and produced a new different flavour of cheese to me. I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining at all. I'm going to try it now. A piece of English cheddar. So first of all, apologies. That is a lot calmer than the feta. Creamy, strong cheese. With the beer. Try that a bit more. Okay. I don't think the cheddar works as well, because what happened then with the cheddar, it seemed to bring out the alcohol flavours in the beer. So I was getting more of the alcohol then. So it's like the cheddar sort of brought out the flavour of the alcohol in that beer, and that beer felt stronger alcohol flavoured. It seemed to left that on the palate as well. So the feta worked so much better. It really did. I'm pretty sure that Orval also make their own cheese. That'd be interesting. Wonder what style it is. So the cheddar just brought out more of the alcohol, booziness, and the feta just changed the flavour totally and made it feel like a farmhouse cheese. That's the only way to explain that. Okay, so that's the cheese experiment done. Now I'm going to dump it all in the glass and see. Can't believe I've pretty much drank that. That shows you how much I'm enjoying this beer. It's pretty hard to get it all in with this carbonation, which, like I say, it's not passing on. It's just there in the pour. I haven't got the Orval glass, but I'm thinking of getting that now, because this beer is it's that good. It's that different. It's so complex. It's so nice. It really is. Comment below if you've had Orval and what you thought of it. But look at that. I'm not even going to be able to get a picture of this beer in the glass, because I can't ever remember drinking the whole beer before. But there you go. So that has got in. So that has made it now less. Well, it's nowhere near as bright. So it's brought some of that murk in. Oh, it's a bit of like a. It's how can I explain that? It smells a bit. I can imagine chalky. I'm back, if by magic. So there's been a big cut there. I had something to sort out. Anyway, what I was saying was I mixed in that Brett. I mixed in the yeast now into the beer, and what I'd say is I was saying something like chalky. But it's brought this woody earthiness backed up by this nice pear and slight apple sweetness, and the carbonation, it seems to have knocked the carbonation totally out of it, adding the yeast. Don't know if you can see that, but it's very, very smooth. That is an absolutely stunning beer from Orval. I would definitely be getting another Orval, well, another couple of Orvals. I'm going to age one, I'm going to get one fresh, and I'm going to try them both, because I'm telling you, what date's on this? Because I've had this a little while. Oh no, see, the best before is huge, 2026. This was bottled on the 7th of July 2021. Oh, I forgot, because I've been away for so long. I did say I was going to read the bottle, didn't I? If I can. So it's got the best before, I just said about 2026. Ingredients, malts, water, doesn't tell you anything else, yeast. Yeah, so everything that I've told you, really. So it just says on the front, Trappist. It's got the authentic Trappist logo, which means it's brewed within the walls, it's supervised by the monks, and then profits basically go back into charities. And in this case, it goes back into keeping up the monastery and stuff. So yeah, superb. Orval, I'm telling you, if you've not tried it, give it a go. If you want something that's quite unique in the Trappist varieties, definitely go with this. It's changed, the difference is huge, even just adding that yeast. Like I say, it's got more earthy, it's got a little bit more bitterness, a bit woody, and a bit of that pear. It's all it's backed off from the more floral and banana notes, and come a bit earthy and woody. But yeah, fantastic. Okay, I think I've been talking long enough. Sorry for boring you all. Cheers, and I'll see you on the next one.